It was a pretty big deal. What we know is that if you slaves aren't disciplined and they're out of line, then you're
Wait. If the slaves aren't disciplined?
yeah. Then what do you get? A slave revolt, and then what? Well, they kill.
That's
everybody.
what I'm saying. Is God allowing for that entire
either.
institution to continue? You're trying to say, well, look at what the science nowadays says about the fields. Maybe God was right. Well, what does the science say about how bad slavery is? I guess the Bible was wrong.
Slavery as a
I think you guys are both mentally ill. I think you're both dealing with a lot of projection. Brittany, I think that you're still hurting from your own divorce and you're projecting a lot on me. Still got the
hello. Hey, Hunter.
Hey, Miyo. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, missed you, man.
Oh, I'm sure you missed me so much. I missed you too, man.
Hear your voice, your beautiful voice.
We are. This is gonna be a different call than maybe you're expecting because we know you've been through a lot of shit.
I know that you've been through the ringer with everybody that wants to get their little owns on you with whatever for the past couple months. That's boring at this point to us. Yeah. I'd rather talk about the things we talked about before, your mindset going forward, stuff like that.
I'm very suspicious, but hey, it's so far sounds quite fun. So I say we jump into it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna, you guys. I'm gonna turn off.
You're gonna need to stop that because
I'm gonna turn off the TTS for now. Sorry.
If that cuts into my thing.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm gonna just turn it off completely. You guys don't.
Way to go, Rabbi.
Yeah, Rabbi. None of this right now. Hold on.
You trying to ruin the guest?
Yeah. Fucking idiot.
Cut the content, Rabbi.
Yeah. Here, what I'll do is I'm gonna set my TTS to $100. They won't do that.
I'm sitting here like, oh, we're gonna have a nice conversation with you, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. Set the tone for this stream.
Do you like our dono sound though? They're all simps now, so
nice.
They're all simps. All the Groiber simps. But
and so that's her little way of getting at him every time.
That's my little own
I know what y'all say.
Okay, so what did you guys want to talk about?
Okay.
Well, first, the post that your first post back, I think also was kind of, it seemed like a little bit of a Christian awakening type of moment. I don't know. Miyo's the more of the Christ-like guy, but I thought that was an interesting take. Miyo, I don't know. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I am. Well,
sorry. This is just an alert that it's that somebody's following. So don't worry about that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. There's something to be said for the timing of it all, right? It's you have to come back with this new argument about faith. I was reading that, and it was a good point. It was a good point. It was a good understanding of. I remember when we talked about rationalism and empiricism.
I remember that debate also, and yeah, I remember that one. But this was more about how faith can be argued specifically and only in the context of religion, because I think that faith is a really bad method of coming to truth. But when we're talking about something that's unfalsifiable, and when we're talking about a gift that is supposed to be available for everyone, since faith is not particularly rational to begin with, it actually makes that gift more available for everybody. So that's kind of...
Because there's no IQ gate, right?
Huh?
Because there's no IQ gate on faith.
Well, yeah, exactly. Just like when people say, like, I've said the same thing, like when people say, well, you can get to God through philosophy. But I'm like, I'm not really good with philosophy. So then does that mean that God's gift isn't really available for me then? But then, but hold on, before I am done with this, because there's also a follow-up to that post, because I can understand and even rationalize faith being a necessary component, again, exclusively in the context of religion. But the problem is that God could still arguably provide more evidence and you can still have faith. That's the problem that I'm running into now. Like, you can, for example, have faith that Bigfoot exists, but there's also like at least a video that might be fake, or at least there's something to look at. It's like, why I feel like God could potentially provide something a little bit better, and then faith could still also be necessary. That's kind of where I'm stuck now.
I see. So that way it could be more believable you don't feel like you have to go off the rails of logic into something unbelievable in order to have faith and follow it and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, or even if it is something more unreasonable, like God has the ability to provide something that is a little bit better than what we have right now. I can only imagine. And again, I'm not saying God should come down here and be like, I am God, I'm real, believe in me now or something. Yeah. But I don't know. There's got to be something, you know, like I know that we have the Old Testament or the Bible, the New Testament or whatever, but I don't really see that as evidence. I see that more as like claims from long ago. And I don't know if that really means much.
Well, here's what got me there, man, is it's funny how this works out, but it seems to me the best evidence for the truth of this, for it being true, is that when people act upon it as if it's true, things work out better for them.
That's a really faulty way to go about it. No way. That's a very bad actual argument.
Well, the disaster strikes, right? You could have a hurricane or tornado hit your house, and it had nothing to do with whether you were how you acted towards whoever that day.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the argument that the religion is true because it tends to improve people's lives is a really bad argument. Because people can be inspired to change for the better on something that can be false. I was just thinking about this.
No, but yeah, you're right about that. But it makes sense that the most true thing would also be the best way to go through life. If there was it's like a car with a manual. There's one way to run it right. And if you're doing that, it just happens to you're acting according to.
But that's contradictory to the Bible. I thought it says that being a Christian is not going to just make your life easier, that it's like the short and narrow path.
Well, I mean, the short and narrow, that says that what narrow is the path to salvation if you will find it.
But yeah, it's saying that your life is not going to just become magically easier because you become a Christian. That's actually contradictory to Christianity.
No, but what it does say is that if you trust in what Jesus says, if you trust in him and you act according to it, he will provide for you. He said, don't worry about what you'll have to eat tomorrow, because of course I'll provide for you. Does the animal worry about what it's going to eat tomorrow? He says, when your children ask you for something, do you give them something worse, or do you give it to them?
No. That's just called not being worried. You can put your faith in something. You can put your faith that God's going to take care of you. You can put your faith in your boss giving you a bonus tomorrow, and then you can rest easy for the next day. That's just having confidence. That doesn't mean that the Christian belief is true.
The confidence is derived from trust that it will work out because you're acting the right way.
Yeah, but you're trusting that you're acting the right way, and you're trusting that it's going to work out. So you're just trusting all of this, and then things don't always work out, nor is it consistent with Christianity that being a Christian is going to improve your life.
But it's better than going through the world.
No, it's not.
With no standard. It is. If you go through the world,
you can have a standard. You just don't need a religious standard.
There isn't one outside of that. I have explored all the secular philosophy, and there is no moral baseline. That's what Nietzsche's great struggle was.
Wait, what do you mean no moral baseline?
There isn't one. There's no foundation. There is no moral foundation.
I know. Yes, of course not.
And so
we build it. We build that foundation. And that's actually so much better than just listening to the Bible. The Bible doesn't even give us really that much good shit. Plus, the Bible has a lot of conflicting stuff. The commands it gives, the whole issue with slavery. I mean, we've been over all of that. There's a lot of problems there also.
Well, I mean, that's all totally different. Like what slavery, you're picturing what, like, you know, blacks in chains and whatever. And it was like a punishment for crimes and had rules.
No, I'm not. I'm not picturing that. Wait, did we not argue the slavery point before?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I'm talking about God being okay with owning other humans as property. That's all. I'm not talking about.
It was more like it's not like owned as property. They sell price tags on fucking on like slave.
Some of it was. Some of it was debt slavery. Others were forced into slavery, and the Bible specifically.
So
hold on, no, stop. The Bible in Leviticus 25:40 says specifically that from the nations around you, you may buy slaves. They will be your property, and you can give them to your children because they are your property. That is in the Bible.
And this is right at the beginning of civilization itself, when the concept of an eye for an eye is brand new. Because before that, it was an eye for I'll kill your whole family.
So is slavery bad?
There being rules for slavery, like if you beat your slave half to death, you get killed.
No, that's not the rule. The rule is if your slave. No, Miyo, stop. The rule is if you beat your slave and he doesn't die, then you're not going to be punished because he's your property. You only
know what the Hebrew word for punished in that sentence is? Death.
Wait.
You'll
say
be,
that again. What?
Yeah, death. The Hebrew word that's used in that sentence for punished, as you just said, is death.
Yeah,
you'll be punished by death. If
you will be put to death, punished if you kill your slave, but the Bible allows for you to beat your slave.
If you beat your slave and he does not heal within 2 days, you will be punished.
No, you won't.
If you beat,
if he heals within a few days or whatever, then you will go unpunished because he's your property.
Right. Then you won't be punished. If he doesn't heal in 2 days, you will be punished. The word for punishment in that sentence means death.
What is this proving? This is saying that you can beat. This is telling you that you are allowed to beat your slave, my friend. It says,
what it says,
Exodus 21:20 through 21. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property.
Yes, exactly. They will be put to death. If you beat somebody bad enough, they don't heal in 2 days, you be put to death. So yeah, that's a pretty serious rule.
No, it's
and if
not.
you beat your slave, it says
Are you an idiot right now? It says that. Wait. So wait. If I step in here and say, "Hey, it's bad to kill your children, but it's okay to beat the fuck out of them as long as they don't die."
I need to finish a sentence here, man. It's you're jumping down my throat when I'm trying to get to the same point 5 times in a row. Okay,
right, so
okay, look, earlier or later in the verse, I forget which, it says that if you bust his eye or his lip or something like that, your slave goes free. Okay, so there was very little tolerance for beating slaves actually here. All these horrors, whatever, that's in your head about what slavery is from the American
just a little
bit
of beating. God said I could beat my human property a little bit. Ooh woo.
Do you have any idea what healing in 2 days? You don't have to hit someone that hard for them to not heal in 2 days.
Cool.
It means basically
so God said it's okay to beat your so God said it's okay to beat your human property, and then maybe we should also look into the verse where God says
they were beating their kids with belts 20 years ago, man. Their own kids.
I'm against that shit too.
Okay, well, everybody was doing this to everybody for all of human history, and most people turned out okay.
Wait, you know what, dude? You're right. Look, God probably caved to the peer pressure. He broke, man.
Because
the peer pressure was just too much for God Almighty.
You don't know. You can't heal in 2 days from anything even remotely serious. If you get a black eye, that doesn't heal in 2 days.
I don't think you. I don't care. It doesn't mean it's okay. Wait. If I go up to my child and
heal in 2 days,
can you stop? If I go and slap my child, and there's no long-term harm from that, like physically, was it okay that I slapped my child?
That you what?
If I slap my child in the face, but it doesn't lead to any long-lasting physical harm. It just makes them cry for like 10 minutes and then they're chill. And there's like a red mark on their face till the end of the day. Was it okay that I slapped my kid?
You know what Proverbs says, spare the rod or spoil the child.
That's not actually what that Proverbs verse means, but I'm asking you again, do you think it was right that I slapped, not spare the rod, slapped my kid? Do you think that was right, even though they're fine after a minute?
Yeah. I think if your kid does something,
so keep it. This is my final point. I needed you to just say yes, because here's the problem. I get that you're trying to be civil, and that's fine. You came on here and said, "Oh, Hunter, you don't have any foundation for your morality or anything." Meanwhile, your foundation allows for beating kids. Your foundation allows for owning slaves and beating slaves. And this is over here, and you're telling me you're the one with the big fucking strong moral foundation.
Get your big own, man. I know you're desperate for those.
Because I'm not in the whole religious thing, but and I'm not going to go into what happened and all that stuff, but what happened with you, was there some kind of awakening or wake up call of changes that you're going to make, or things you're going to do in the future that are going to be different from what happened before?
When you become religious?
Well, no, I'm not even talking about religious in general. Just I know you went through a kind of a life altering thing that happened to you.
Yeah, I got divorced and everybody thought it was because of my politics. I know.
No, I'm not saying it's because of your politics at all. I'm just saying that no matter who you are, when something like that happens and it alters your world, it changes people in certain ways. And I'm just wondering what, if that happened to you, if what you're going to be doing forward, what that's like.
No, I mean, I was already thinking about this thing with faith for a long time. I only publicly posted about it recently, but I think people tend to see a lot of this shit that happens as like a thing happening in chronological order, where it's like, Hunter got divorced and now he's coming back to God kind of thing. But like, no, it was really that these are just things I've been thinking about for quite a while. Okay, and then also,
let me take it really quick. But like, that wouldn't be a crazy thing, like for like something like that to happen. And like,
no, I don't think that's crazy for that to happen. But I also don't think that it's that simple or as simple as people seem to think it is for me.
Like for me personally, because I wrote a post on your thing and some people yelled at me about it, but like I think like the best route for you is just because you've been doing a lot of defending of it and stuff, is to just be like authentic about it, be like a real human. You went through something stuff that people can empathize with. Like you got fucked over really, really bad in so many different ways, and like
I've always been myself on my channel though. But remember when I changed politics for a long time, there was a lot of thought that I was a grifter. I've always just been honest and open about what I changed.
But it didn't feel natural. It seemed like when you were
that's
like,
fine. It's not about whether it feels natural or not, because again, you're saying the best route for me is to be my authentic self. That's my authentic self.
So you're still going with the left-wing route.
Of course.
Are you kidding me?
Like, wait. Miyo, the guy who is okay with slapping children and beating your human property because God said so, is over here to lecture me on my morals? Or my politics?
I'm not done with the slapping kids convo yet. We're getting to the bottom of this. Would you spank your kid, Hunter?
No, that does.
Would you spank your girl, Hunter? Would you spank your girl, whoever your girl is at any point? Who?
What do you mean, my daughter?
No, your
like a girlfriend,
your wife, your future wife, whatever. Yeah, your girlfriend.
Like a kinky sex thing in the bedroom?
No, he's gonna say no.
So, what I'm asking, okay, would you spank? You wouldn't spank your kids?
No, so that does harm to them.
No discipline whatsoever. Hey, if your kid like reaches out for the oven or whatever, and you want to teach him that hurts without him permanently damaging his hand, if he doesn't listen to you and he's running out in the train tracks in front of the train,
yeah, hold on, I really got to get a glass of water really quickly because this. Hold on, please.
Whatever.
I just got to get
stuff like this.
Wait, hold
on just 1 second. Let me just get a water. Okay, I will be right back. Hold on.
The line is if you're doing it in the heat of the, if you're gonna just, I don't know if you're hearing what I was saying, but like I do think there's a line between discipline and abuse when it comes to spanking. Like if you're doing it when you're mad in the heat of the moment, you're so mad, it's like you're getting out your own aggression and you're doing it to like satisfy yourself. But if you've calmed down, they know there's a certain discipline for what they're doing.
But the discipline doesn't work.
Or whatever, then it's discipline. And I think that's where like the line is.
So I get what you're saying, and I don't think that that's necessarily even like a wrong take. There obviously is going to be a line there, but what Miyo said a second ago, he's like, so you're not going to spank your kids, so just no discipline? Like, no. We're using discipline and spanking for some reason synonymously here. There are vastly different ways to discipline your children, and believe it or not, better ways to discipline your children that don't involve hitting them. Not to mention, if we really want to get into it, I will go ahead and I will put this spanking thing right here to rest as soon as I tell you this disgusting fact, and then anybody that actually supports spanking kids instantly looks more like a fucking pedophile. You want to know what it is? The fact of the matter is, when you are slapping anybody's bottom, you are sending a rush of blood to their genitals as well. And so when kids are spanked, they grow up having way higher rates of fetishes for spanking. So unless you're comfortable sexualizing your kid and stimulating them by disciplining them like a creepy pedo, then I'm sorry, my friend, you are out of line.
You sound insane. You sound insane.
I'm sorry. Does the science offend you? You can read about it, dude.
It's like blood's rushing to their genitals, and then they have a spanking kink. Seriously,
when they grow, kids who are spanked grow up to have way more risky sexual endeavors as well. Yes.
Looking at that one.
Okay,
I'll go ahead and pull it up right now. I've done an entire video on it where I go over the data.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, what happens if you spank them in the face instead then, huh?
Spank them in the face instead.
That's probably just abuse straight up.
I don't know.
Yeah,
okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up then just so we can clear it out.
But okay.
Well, no. I'm pulling this study up first because you guys are telling me I'm reaching or being insane when I'm not. I'm literally citing data.
I've never heard about that.
That is insane, Hunter.
I know it is, and it probably makes you. Well, the reason it's insane is because it suddenly makes you realize how fucking uncomfortable it is to support your dumb fuck position.
I don't feel uncomfortable. I've known There's so many kids that got spanked as kids and then grew up and they're normal fucking people.
They're
dude.
not,
Everybody
though.
in the whole damn world.
Do you want to look? So, for example, you should look at the way the studies also have tracked whether or not spanking is even effective. It's only effective at getting the child to no longer do that behavior in front of the disciplinarian.
What do you think the best way to discipline a child is then?
I go with what the scientific evidence suggests, which is timeout combined with, because I know everyone's going to make fun of me for saying timeout combined with a healthy and loving family structure. So as long as I am otherwise encouraging my kids and very uplifting about positive behavior, when they do something wrong, they go in timeout. And so long as this is implemented in a way that's like contextually healthy, then that has been shown to actually reduce the negative behavior and to lead to less continuation of that negative behavior.
Can I tell you how like we used to discipline my son, because my ex-husband's in the military, and so this literally really worked. So he would make him do like military things. So like he would make him stand against the wall and do this squat thing for like 10 fucking minutes. And he hated. He would like rather like do like anything else than this squat thing he had to do for 10 minutes. He'd be crying, please don't make me do the squatting. And like or like doing like these standard things like, I'll write something out 1,000 times, I won't do it, just don't make me do the squatting. Like, he hated that, and it was a really good way to like get him to not do shit.
I guess, but that just seems also really harsh. But regardless,
the idea.
Cleveland Clinic, here's one that you can look at: why you shouldn't spank your kids and what to do instead. Spanking is linked to future behavioral and emotional problems. Research over the last 20 years has demonstrated that spanking increases aggression in young children and is ineffective in changing their undesirable behavior. Studies have also linked spanking to an increased risk of mental health disorders and impaired brain development.
Will you put the link in our little group chat thingy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard this stuff before. I've heard this stuff before. I gotta be honest, I don't really buy it all.
You've heard this before, Miyo? I've never heard this. This is crazy.
Oh yeah. There's a whole anti-spanking lobby with like tons of. They've got dozens of studies behind them, and all the psychologists. It's like, spanking is totally out now.
That's crazy. I've never heard this in my life. That's wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a whole lot.
So there's a blood vessel in the pelvic region called the common iliac artery. When blood rushes to a person's butt, because say you're spanking them, blood rushes down that artery, and the artery splits. Some of it directs blood to the genitals. So when you cause blood to rush to a person's butt, you're also causing it to rush to his or her sex organs. The other time this kind of genital blood engorgement happens is during arousal.
Do you think it's more common in girls or boys?
I don't know.
Now hold on a second. I just need to know. So do you take this blood thing, and you take from that it makes the children getting spanked horny?
No, that's not what I've said. Nor is it what I said.
The blood's going to their genitals.
Wait, do you know that it's possible for you to have blood going there without necessarily being like sexually aroused? That's what happens. And then it's later on as they become adults where they have the higher risk of other sexual proclivities and having a disproportionate fetish for spanking.
What? Well, like spanking other people or being spanked again, like when they were a kid?
Both.
What?
Yeah.
Why would it make you want to spank other people that your blood in your ass?
Dude, I know this is making you uncomfortable, but just stop.
I don't know how much I want to dive into this whole thing.
Yeah, okay, let's go back to Brittany's conversation she wanted to have.
Yeah, I'm a little weirded out by
about your awakening.
Okay, so hold on, wait, no, not yet. Not yet. I want to finish this, please. New research by a University of New Hampshire domestic abuse expert says spanking children affects their sex lives as adults. Professor Murray Strauss concludes that children who are spanked are more likely as adults to coerce partners to have sex, to have unprotected sex, and to have masochistic sex.
Okay, well, that's fun.
So we can go ahead and we can go ahead and move on to the subject, but just let's conclude with the fact that I've provided irrefutable data thus far that demonstrates my point, and Miyo has but the Bible, and it's okay to beat slaves.
You know, you're like walking into some really easy things that I can be saying, and I'm holding back a lot right now. All right. So
yeah, believe me.
What are you guys holding back on?
You just appreciate how much control I'm holding right now, right?
Because Hunter, because
I got divorced. Yeah.
Because you as the man, no, I'm not gonna be like that. Because you as the man are the main disciplinarian. You're the authority. You're the long arm of the law in your house.
Yes, and I discipline my
your
kids.
girl and your kids. And when you are not disciplinary enough, when there's not enough of a structure,
why do you think I'm
discipline,
not?
With a backbone behind it, they act out in ways that if they had discipline, they wouldn't be.
I agree. Discipline is incredibly important for kids, and there's actually another abusive type of child rearing that's called, I think it's called like soft, or maybe that's the right one. There's one that's called like soft parenting, or like overly soft.
The wall works, man. The wall works. My kid is like a healthy. He's 18. He's going to college.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure as he gets older, you'll okay.
No, he's like been like a straight A student. He's got like my kid was raised like really well. And that wall thing really like made sure he was not.
He's not like 8 years old. He's an adult now.
Try the wall. Okay. It worked.
Okay, yeah, cool.
He's
but
not like
regardless, we are fully able to discipline children, and even if we want to appeal to the Bible, what does it talk about? It talks about where you say spare the rod or whatever. The rod is referencing shepherds. They used to care for their sheep with the rod. They didn't beat their sheep with a rod, with their staff when the sheep went off the path. Instead, they directed and guided the sheep. And so what the Bible verse is actually getting at there is more about how your job as a parent is to guide your child in life. I'm not a fucking ape. I don't need to beat the fuck out of my kid. I can actually communicate with them and then put them in timeout. And guess what? The bad behavior goes away. Oh, really? Because
I was saying you should beat the fuck out of your kid. That's what I was saying. Hunter, do you know what a sheepdog is?
Well, let me rephrase that then. Not beat the fuck out of, but at least beat them good enough that they heal in 2 days or less, because that's okay with God.
You know how sheepdogs work? What they do to the sheep to keep them in line?
What do they do?
They bite them. They bite their ankles. They bite their legs.
To be honest, I think beating your kids is more of a how do we say it?
We're not like animals. We don't need to bite them.
A melanin type of feature. I think that's like what people.
Yeah, well, and again, the difference is
more of the child abusing type. So I don't think that like people with less melanin should be beating their kids, because I don't think that they have. I don't think.
Wait, no. I'm sorry. You're wrong. They're not supposed to bite. No, not you, Brittany. Sorry, Miyo, you're wrong. If a kill instinct is dominant, then the dog has a tendency to chase a sheep and pull it to the ground, sometimes biting and harming the sheep. Once this behavior is ingrained in the dog and it's tasted blood, they become a problem for the shepherd and can no longer be used with livestock.
Well, yeah, but they don't eat the sheep and like chew on them, but they nip at them. They're trained to. They do that. They don't get a taste for it like food. You haven't ever watched videos of sheepdogs working?
Sheepdogs are not supposed to bite the sheep. That's all I'm getting at. Now, what were you saying a second ago, Brittany? About the spanking thing?
I was just saying about what thing?
Well, yeah, then nobody's talking about beating the fuck out of kids. What's wrong?
I know. I rephrased that already. Calm down, my friend. I already rephrased it.
Discipline is not venting your anger on children. Nobody means that.
All right, nobody. Yeah, you're right. Nobody. We're not beating kids. But
like, why do I have to hear arguments against beating the fuck out of kids from both of you right now?
I'm not saying that you should.
Talking about beating kids in general.
I've said that
maybe you guys are. I don't know. I kind of like tuned out when we started talking about that it causes sexual arousal. But like, I'm just saying that in general, I think that like there are other ways to discipline. Like, discipline kids that like do work. I think that there are certain like levels of things that like kids do that deserve different types of discipline. Like if your kid is like going and like taking something or whatever, or like I don't know, doing whatever, like you're gonna have a lower discipline than if they're like doing some of that shit you see at the store where they're all like making this huge scene and throwing everything, and like the mom's just like sitting there like no, you're gonna get a timeout. Like you have to have different levels for different
I don't do that either. My kid threw a fit just yesterday in the fucking grocery store, and I picked him up and walked outside, and then I set him down and I take his face and I make sure that I hold his face to my face very close so his eyes are looking in mine, and I tell him firmly, stop it, don't do that. And then he calms down and we go back into the store and we're fine.
Well, here's the thing. So like what we would also have is like for different things, like my son would know like, okay, this type of thing is going to get this type of punishment. This type of thing is going to get this type of punishment. He knew. So like he knew what was going to happen if he did certain types of things, and it was like expected. And I think like having that level of like knowing what's coming when you're going to do a certain thing. And I know your kids are a lot younger and stuff, so it's a little harder to do that. But as they get older, it's a really helpful tool because they kind of expect what the punishment's going to be when they do it.
Right, and we already have that established. Yeah, I already do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. But I also don't think like just timeouts are going to work. I
mean, like, they're not. It's not just timeouts. Sometimes they lose stuff that they want. Sometimes they might lose like a privilege for the day. Like sometimes they want to watch a show. They might not be allowed to, or they might not get sweets for the day.
This sucks. Can we get back to the point of the conversation, Brittany? Instead of how he should raise his kids, can we like, he's attacking the Bible on these grounds right now, and now it's about child abuse. What are we doing here? Let me answer his point.
Okay.
For crying out loud. Oh, Hunter, looking at the story of the very first civilization crawling out of barbarism, the very first rules when an eye for an eye became the least bad system, when all of this, when the idea of slaves being captured, tribes conquering all of this and that, when the idea of rules of not beating them, the very first ones ever came out, and the very first stories of civilization and everything that played out since then, that is to look at that and say that's why you can't have faith in God and you don't understand any of the rules or the spiritual aspects of the Bible. You haven't thought deeply about any of that. That is pathetic. I won't lie to you. That's pathetic. It's technicality.
No, what's weird to me is that if this is some beginning civilization, God could give them rules. God gave them other rules. God had a whole purity ritual thing. There were all sorts of things they had to do. They couldn't plant their seeds in the same fields, wear the mixed fabrics, eat shellfish. So for this beginnings blossoming civilization, for God to be like, plant your seeds like this and don't do that. Oh, but owning people and beating them so long as they don't die is fine. You got to understand that that's a little bit diluted sounding.
Hunter, if I hit you in the face even half as hard as I could, you wouldn't heal in 2 days. You wouldn't. And then what happens to me? Death.
Can
Hunter.
I ask a question, please? Okay, here, I have a question. Because like lately I've been coming around to, all right, so for me, obviously I'm like agnostic and stuff. But I do think that a lot of the Christian values and stuff are really good and like helpful in society. I don't believe in the whole, okay, you're gonna go to like be rewarded or you're gonna be punished or this or that. I think that there's just like the things that they talk about would make a healthy society and that like a better life here and now rather than your afterlife. So that's what I think like would be a better way rules to follow. Like, don't you think that like following some of those things, maybe like not even in a religious sense and coming from it as a secular place and like maybe, you know, having them into some kind of like laws, like where, you know, divorce like is gonna not be so freaking easy for people to do, where it'll help you pick out a better mate if you're going to be if this was now like more of a law where you can't just like up and leave when things are getting a little I
agree that if you're married you need to work on that for a long time, but I also think that this notion that like getting divorce is just so easy kind of thing is silly. The main reason we have no fault divorce is because a lot of there could be abuse occurring in the relationship that can't really be proven in a court of law. I don't know how you would necessarily prove emotional abuse. And then if you are, say, being emotionally abused for years by your husband, and then the court finds that, nah, we don't really think that's what's happening. Now you're stuck in an abusive marriage. Well, I think that's pretty silly. I think that at the end of the day, hold on, wait, please. It's a better method of educating children and people in general, if we want to talk about something like divorce, not, well, now it's illegal or really hard and you can't get divorced even if you want to, but rather, this is why when you get married, it's an important commitment. I would rather, let me tell you something, I would rather be married to somebody who wanted to be married to me, ironic enough, since we're divorced now, because we didn't want to be married to each other, and that's okay. But I would rather be married to somebody who wants to be married to me, not married to somebody because they literally can't leave even if they wanted to.
Right.
Well, that's the thing about marriages, man, is they go through like years sometimes of it's hard and it's not the easy thing to do to stay together, but that commitment is worth it all the way through your life, in the end, through your family's lives, your children's lives.
Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. And I think it's just going to come down to the individual and the individual context and situation.
It for the kids. It's always worth it for the kids.
No, it's not. Yeah. That's completely incorrect. If you have a bad dynamic, or if the parents are actually not getting along consistently, that is, hold on, wait, that's arguably as harmful for children as going through a divorce.
Well, what if so what I thought maybe could be a good remedy, and I don't know how long you were with her before you guys decided to get married, is if maybe some kind of thing where even to get married that you have to have some kind of trial living period for a year, or there has to be something
that's
where
not biblical. That's not biblical,
I
so
know
that
it's
would
not
never
biblical,
happen.
but
Yeah, well, okay,
I'm
well,
not
not
coming from a
maybe
Bible
not
sense.
exactly living together, but some sort of period of going through.
Yeah,
A lot
where
of
so you
Christians
know
have
that
they
it
have
could work,
couples.
and that
Okay,
that
well,
when you're
regardless
when
of
you're
all that, I
actually going
think
to get married, you know that all right, we can do this, rather than because people are so quick to jump in to get married because they know, well, there's always divorce, and then
maybe, but I mean, I guess. But going through a divorce, just if legally filing for divorce is not the most difficult thing. It's not exactly this
I got my
super
divorce
smooth,
online for
easy, great, wonderful
$300.
experience.
Hunter, I got my divorce online for $300 on LegalZoom.com. Okay, it is pretty fucking easy.
For $300? It's not that easy for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, because
that's actually not very easy. If anything, that's your fucking barrier right there. Isn't that the common stat you hear? The average American couldn't afford a $400 emergency. People aren't going to just be able to have $300 to just drop on it necessarily. And second of all, well, hold on. Second of all, you're right. It doesn't matter. Even if they have the money for it, it's more about instilling an appreciation for that relationship, but also being able to recognize when it's okay for that relationship to end. Because you also have to understand that, at least thankfully for the dynamic between me and Carissa, everything is very amicable. So I still see my kids all the time. I'm pretty much there every night doing bedtime with them. I literally see them the same amount of time I saw them before, or at least the same amount of time any kid would see their dad who just works a 9-to-5 job and then is home in the evenings. So
what happens when you go over there for bedtime and the other guy's there, the next guy?
If Carissa's going out with somebody else?
Well, in the future, eventually, someday, that's the idea, is you're both single in the future and whatever, right? I'm not trying to be.
Well, no other guy's going to be coming in and raising my kid. There's a strict boundary there.
She's going to be single for the rest of her life until
you
18?
can wait. No, you can see people. You don't need to introduce that person to the children as your partner or something.
Are you going to order her not to bring another guy home?
Not being realistic here.
I don't think you're making any sense right now or understanding what I'm saying, but I think that's okay, because what's more important here is, at the end of the day, it's kind of bad to break up families, it seems. Yeah, but God also allowed for that, where he will say, hey, some of these slaves you have, if you want to set them free, you can. But if the master has given that slave a wife and a child, the slave can go free. The male slave can go free, but he cannot bring his wife and children with him. They belong to the master. They are the property.
Do you think whatever the fuck you just said means that it's good for families to break up?
No, I'm saying that God was okay with breaking up families also when it comes to slaves. That God obviously didn't really have those good
argument why that's good and justifiable, why it's a good thing for families to be broken up.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's bad to break up families in general, but God was okay with allowing that, because he would say, oh, well, some of you can go free, but now you have to leave your kids and wife behind because they're still the property.
Look, Hunter, you're missing the point is all. Let me try this on you, because I used to be in a very similar position. Okay, I don't know if you know Sam Harris is. I used to listen to him a lot, and so I know how the faith isn't a good way to get to truth, and all of these. I believe that. I get it. There's tons of stuff in the Bible that's contradictory. It's difficult. Some of it seems barbaric. It's really difficult to figure out. There are some things I read and I don't understand, or I can't figure out how to reconcile or justify. There's that is all over the place. When you only look at that stuff and you're like, if there's a single contradiction, it's supposed to be perfect, supposed to be from God, and there's something I don't get here, there's something that looks bad, that whatever, but that is the petty stuff. The idea, what you said about faith is true, that there's no IQ gate on it. It's not, if you're smart enough, you know enough philosophy, you've read enough studies, you can figure out the best way to life. It turns out, if you act according to the advice from Jesus for how families should treat each other, at least, then your family works out better than if you do all this other stuff.
But also what I'm trying to say is okay, so how long were you guys together before you decided to get married?
To me, this is the petty stuff. Nor do I feel like this is even relevant anymore to dive into this. I don't know what point you're trying to make, Miyo. I get what you're saying. So, well, hold on. If I could just address what he said.
Sure.
Not sure what Hunter means, but I think most people would date someone for months before they introduce them to their children. That's what I was saying, is they wouldn't even introduce them, though, until like it was actually something we had long decided on and talked about or something like this. We have boundaries there. But what, shit, chat, you distracted me, and I forgot what you'd said a second ago, Miyo. I'm sorry.
You're missing the point that it's about
right. Yeah, but for me, that's the problem, is I don't see it as the petty stuff as much, because for me, I'm like, if God is actually God, he needs to be benevolent, but he also needs to be perfect. But I cannot reconcile a benevolent, perfect being permitting the abuse of people like this, or the owning of people as property.
Okay, fine, but like, okay, like, and now come at it from my secular point. Like, how long were you guys together before you got married?
I don't know, a couple of years, I think.
And like, did you guys did you guys have children before you got married, or was it after?
I thought you already know this story.
I honestly don't. I really don't. I have.
What is the point you're trying to get at?
I'm just trying to understand a little bit better. That's all. I swear. This isn't a trap or anything.
I don't think you're getting me in a trap. I just don't think you're making a point.
I'm just trying to understand your situation a little bit better.
Well, yeah, we had Rose, and then we were apart for a little while. We decided to break up because we thought things weren't going to work out, but then we got back together, and then from there we got married, etc. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No, that's fair. Okay. So no, like what I'm just saying is that I do think that, you're saying like, okay, we all agree that breaking up families, like it is better to be with the if you have children.
Yeah, but also I would like to just further reconcile this, because when I say stuff like that, I want to be clear that the dynamic with my divorce at least is the dynamic with my divorce at least is definitely unconventional. We're not about to do this whole 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays, mom, dad can't be in the same room together crap. They still see both of us all the time. They don't. I don't even think they really understand fully that we're divorced.
Right. Well, I kind of had a similar situation. Like I get along really well with my ex. Like we've like all been able to like have like family Thanksgivings and stuff. Like all of like my parents, their parents, like we're all like really close, and I'm like friends with his girlfriend, and it's a good blended family, and it's a good dynamic, and there's not like that. Like it was never an ugly divorce, and that's probably why
his girlfriend is there at those. His girlfriend, the other person, is going to be there at those. You can't order her.
This is going to happen, and you do need to understand that. Like
I don't need relationship advice from you guys. And nor do I care to hear it, truthfully. I have this boundary established. I will deal with my own personal relationship. This is not proving anything. All I'm trying to explain is that Exodus 20... Wait, no. I'm going to finish. I'm going to read this now. Exodus 21, 2-6, okay? When you buy a Hebrew slave, he will serve 6 years. The 7th year, he goes free for nothing.
I don't care about the slaves.
Because he's here to argue family something different than what you're trying to do.
If the master gives him a wife...
slaves, all right, and I think that I'm fine with slaves. I don't care about that.
So hold on. Everybody pause. You're on 2 different levels. Brittany, you're here to talk about the personal things, and Hunter, both of us figured maybe that your personal situation would lead to a reflection that might lead to you understanding where we're coming from better, and she wants to know if there's a bridge there to be built. Brittany, he's here to argue, like he's enjoying the argument about Christianity right now, and
that's what we started
efficacy of the Bible, and so he wants to talk about that instead more. And so there's 2 conversations happening that we have to take one at a time.
Mine. I choose mine.
Okay, I understand what you're getting at then.
But we'll do both.
But no, I don't think that this is going to make like a bridge for... Well, no, I got divorced. I don't think that like I didn't have like a near-death experience or something. Like I didn't even like... Me and Carissa were really unhappy being married, so I've been nothing but happier since the divorce.
Forget your relationship. Okay, let's just put that aside completely. I'm trying to like see, because I think that like the whole like making divorce extremely difficult is something that can even reach to lefties, because I think that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, trying to break up families, when 50% of the people are going through divorce, if there's ways that we can do this that is not going to break up families, and if you are like making it so that like you're choosing your mate a lot better, then like you're not sticking your kids into a family that is going to be this like horrible relationship, because you're not going to marry somebody that's going to be horrible because you've actually tested it out a little bit. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, that could work, yeah, but most people date for a while before they get married. So we kind of already have that. The thing is that there's a difference between encouraging social norms and then actually trying to legislate it. Like, I don't think it's right to legislate something with making divorce harder, but I do think that teaching people the importance of marriage and the weight of that commitment is also really important. I think you can instill those values in people. I don't like the whole, like, you're not allowed to do it so therefore you're stuck. I would rather people not want to do it and have an understanding why.
But that's the thing, like, every single law that comes into play it happened because somebody else was fucking it up for everybody else.
But that's not happening right now.
That is what's happening. If we're having 50% of divorces right now, then people are fucking shit up because they're not choosing their mates properly. So maybe if we had a law that like made it where you can't just like run out so easily, they're not going to be stuck in these horrible marriages. They're not going to be marrying just anybody. They're going to pick a little bit like more wisely on who they're going to get married so that the marriages will actually last longer.
This is just okay. I understand where you're coming from, but this ignores the fact that people grow and change. Sometimes they can be really close and compatible and literally can grow and no longer be compatible. That's a common thing that happens. You're neglecting the fact that, again, there are also really bad environments for kids to be in, even when the family's together. If the parents are staying together strictly for the kids, that is a bad environment for the kids. That also is very detrimental for the kids' psychology. So
it's not
there is more nuance here. That's all I'm getting at. And then to answer the final part of the question is there some kind of a bridge here? No, I'm not becoming right-wing or Christian or anything. I share my thoughts on some of this stuff, and that's it. I hate to break it to you guys. Did you guys think I was like becoming right-wing?
So say that in your next relationship, would you ever do like any of the things that you did before?
Well, the first thing no, the first thing I would do is not ever get in a committed relationship again. The second thing I'm doing is never getting married again.
Wait, yeah. you plan on being like a Destiny now?
No, Destiny is in a relationship. He's in an open relationship. No, I'm not gonna. I don't want an open relationship. I just don't want a relationship.
So you just said I wouldn't be in a committed relationship ever again. What does that mean?
He doesn't want to be emotionally connected.
There's nothing wrong with having like friends who you can have sex with sometimes, so long as everybody's chill with that. That's all.
So you're just gonna like just fuck whoever will fuck you?
His possessiveness is
not broken. Whoever will want to fuck me. If there's somebody who I'm attracted to and they're attracted to me, maybe, and there's chemistry, sure. Yeah.
And you actually think you're not gonna get emotionally invested ever?
No, I think that I can be a little emotionally invested because I can really appreciate somebody as a friend and somebody who is who we can. Wait, hold on. Yo, you asked me. Yo, chill.
I know, but you're not being realistic.
I am being completely realistic. I hate to break it to you, but this is literally already happening fucking now. Okay.
All of this is fresh for you. Like this is like you're not going to think like this in a few years.
People call that a rebound. Like you're with a girl right now that you don't feel possessive over, that you don't like want to stay with, and all of that you don't want to like envision a future and everything. That's what they call a rebound, man.
I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, you are more than welcome to think that. I don't know really. There's no way to convince you that it's not that case, but sure, go ahead.
I get why your possessiveness is broken in you now, now.
What are you talking about right now?
Just said
there's no possessiveness that's been broken in me. I am not possessive.
You should be.
You should be.
You absolutely should be.
And women, your views of why certain people should act in relationships are also the reason why it's a good thing that divorce is so easy.
Well, no, here's the thing. Like, I think like most women, they want their guy to be possessive because it makes them feel like important. Like if I had a guy who was like okay with me just going around and fucking everybody and doing whatever, I would feel like shit. That would make me feel so shitty because that they would like it should just be for them.
If you're in if that's the type of relationship you're in, sure. But if you're also in a relationship where this is somebody who you're friends with, somebody who you had sex with sometimes, and also somebody who is understanding of that situation, it's not just like you have sex one time and then leave, fucking total stranger. No, it's just like this is a friend. They can come over and we can have sex if we want, hang out, and then they leave.
Fine. But like the lower
hookup culture is like fucking random people drunk at a bar. That's no. I'm talking about like
the lower a woman feels about herself, the lower things that they're going to do. The guy sets the boundaries of what that she can do. If you set those fucking boundaries, like she'll just get away. She will push and push and push and get away with whatever she can. The guy needs to be there.
I think you're just projecting right now, Brittany, and it's okay. Maybe you feel that you need like a strong, firm, manly hand to guide you through life.
Even
but
if they say they don't, most women do.
Okay.
Like, I'm sorry, it's a reality. And
you're doing the thing again, but it's okay. You're doing the thing where, again, like you might be a little ditzy and you're projecting that on all women. Like, just if you need that doesn't mean that's what all women need.
All right. I'm gonna this will be the only time I say something like this, but like when the text message revealed, like when he was being like really firm with her, she was extremely submissive. She was extremely submissive to it.
With the OnlyFans guy?
Her nature.
He fell into it naturally.
Really firm with her.
What are you talking about?
You were like, I guess that you're not the dominant type where you're going to be like, you know, having a firm hand and stuff. And so
we had boundaries and we stuck to them. The boundaries were respected throughout the entirety of it.
You set bad boundaries then, man.
Okay, but you just said that I don't put my foot down or something. I did, and those boundaries were respected the whole time.
No. I don't think she meant like that. She doesn't mean you didn't put your foot down and that happened. She meant, you know, that she clearly responded naturally well to that, and that
she
Brittany
didn't.
Thinks that's not probably how you act.
The reason I'm cutting you off is because you're just making shit up right now, and that's not even true.
All right. I don't want to
specific. No. It's fine. You can press me. I don't care. I've already addressed all this anyway. It's kind of irrelevant, but I don't care. Like the reason all that shit even leaked was because the guy got mad that Carissa ghosted him because he was making her uncomfortable. So you don't know what you're talking about by saying, well, she responded so well to his dominant hand.
Like that's her first mistake is like doing anything with somebody with melanin. All right. Like that's going to get
what is that all about? What are you saying right now?
I'm just saying, don't fucking trust that shit. Like, don't ever trust that shit. Like that. This is why you stay with your own kind. All right.
Are you kidding me right now? You think this happened because the guy was black?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
You know, Brittany.
That was her first mistake, and like that's disgusting.
Wait, are you trolling right now? You're trying to get me banned?
I'm not trolling at all.
Hunter, she's come a long way since we first met.
None of that.
We were supposed to be like chill and civil, but now you're saying some of the most unhinged, deranged shit I've ever heard in my life. That also
only real stuff, obviously.
Wait, melanin is real. You trying to link any kind of behavior to melanin is fucking ludicrous. What is?
If he didn't have all that melanin, that would not have happened. All right.
He never would have leaked that stuff if he was a white guy.
That guy's fucking racist too. That guy is a racist.
Wait, what happened? Wait, what's the relevance with him being black and then leaking this? Do white guys never leak? No,
that guy's
stuff?
a racist. He had a humiliation fetish to like make a white girl like feel humiliated. He's a disgusting piece of shit. And I'm sorry that you went through that. Like, I do feel bad that you went through that. I wish you would like be a little bit more like show a little more human, like freaking emotion, like show, like be real about it. And,
what do you mean? Where do you feel like I'm not being real about this?
I just feel like
she was expecting.
She was expecting. Like it shouldn't bother you, and I don't know why.
Yeah, when you come back,
tough luck. You thought I would be over here sobbing, broken, and so sad and down. That's just not how it is.
Sob about it, but I'm saying like you're making so many excuses about it, and I don't think you should do that either.
What can you give me one excuse I've made, please, that you feel was an excuse?
Excuses a lot for her. Okay.
What excuse did I make for her?
That like she was the one being manipulated, that like he took advantage of her.
He did to a degree, but she also had said things that I found to be hurtful towards me, and I've talked about that as well.
She shouldn't have been talking to him in the first place.
Well, yeah, because he was a black guy, according to you.
Exactly.
Let's go. I knew you were going to make it, Hunter.
So can you try to tell me how him being black has any relevance here?
It's disgusting. Okay.
No, not Hunter, disgusting. You're disgusting, but that's not an argument. So tell me again, what does this have to do with it?
Well, hold on, Hunter. All of our everything we believe, all of that aside, she has a point. That black guy is a racist who was getting off on the idea of humiliating a white girl. In the first place, that's the type of like fetish he was doing. Yeah, and so that's absolutely. The fact that he did all of this and humiliated worse and like broke everything, pushed boundaries, made everything weird. All of that is perfectly in character with, just imagine, what if he is a racist against like white people, who has a humiliation fetish for white girls and all of that? It would add up to him acting worse, wouldn't it?
I guess, like in your little story, yeah, but this just sounds like a little story again. I'm looking this up though, and wait, is melanin correlated with anything else besides skin?
What if he's just racist? What if he's just racist against white people? It doesn't matter about melanin or his physiology or anything.
For you guys to be over here bitching that he's racist when Brittany just said it's because he's black that he acted this way is, first of all, hilarious.
Because he's a black racist against white girls.
Wait. She said it was because of his melanin.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter how racist I am. I'll admit I'm racist against melanin, whatever. But I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about this guy. Like, first of all, he like, there's no way like he would, like, she ghosted him, so he decided to like do this whole like humiliation, not just to her but to you, because she didn't answer his calls.
I agree, the guy was fucking pathetic, but what does this have to do with him being black? You're just saying because he wait, so you're saying because he wanted to humiliate a white girl that he was being racist or something? Again, maybe this guy specifically was racist against white people or had some weird fetish for that. And that is kind of fucked up. What does this mean? How does this mean that her mistake was talking to a black guy in general?
The reason that she did this is because she has white guilt. She feels like, oh, well, we did slavery, so now like I owe in my pussy.
Yes, you're so right. Thank you, mind reading, Brittany.
With all kinds of stuff.
Brittany from Politically Provoked. Well, you know what you should do, actually? Brittany from Palm Reading Provoked. You could literally read my palm right now and tell me what's going on.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You don't
I'm sorry, guys, but so far, let's just go over this. We've heard that it's okay to slap your kids so long as they are better in a day or two. It's okay for you to fucking have slaves according to the Bible, but it's not okay to plant seeds in the wrong field for some reason. And it's wait, what else do we go about? I don't remember. Oh yeah, that's right. And you are the guy, or Miyo at least is the one who has the quote unquote like moral foundation, despite the one arguably way more sympathetic towards slavery. So I don't know where else this conversation is going to go.
Well, so what happens if you plant your seeds in the wrong field, Hunter? And we know now from agriculture and science thousands of years later.
What?
Well, you plant your seeds in the wrong field, all the nutrients get fucked up and it doesn't work anymore. And then you starve to death. All of your people.
What do we know now about how bad slavery is?
It was a pretty big deal. What we know is that if your slaves aren't disciplined and they're out of line, then
Wait, if the slaves aren't disciplined?
Yeah, then what do you get? A slave revolt. And then what? Well, they kill everybody.
That's what I'm saying, is God allowing for that entire institution to continue. You're trying to say, well, look at what the science nowadays says about the fields. Maybe God was right. Well, what does the science say about how bad slavery is? I guess the Bible was wrong.
Slavery as
I think you guys are both mentally ill. I think you're both dealing with a lot of projection. Brittany, I think that you're still hurting from your own divorce and you're projecting a lot on me. Miyo, I think that you're a very sad person. I know you guys try to keep it civil. I cannot be civil with Miyo. You're very degenerate, and Brittany, you're just a racist piece of shit. So yeah, sorry. This was just another day in the asylum. I appreciate the call, but I'm out of here. Jesus. What the fuck, man?